In this video, I'm going to give you some tips on getting started in the very exciting world that is property development. But I just want to mention in November, we're running our very first Development Masterclass. And this Masterclass is your chance to learn directly from highly experienced and successful developers. But in this video, I'm going to let you in on some of the secrets of property development in advance. Hi, my name is Mark Lloyd. I'm co-founder of Property Master Academy, and I've been investing and developing in property since 2005. So firstly, what exactly is property development? Well, property development is not just one opportunity, it's many, many opportunities. But if I had to give you a simple explanation of what property development is, it's this. Turning one type of property into another type of property, usually one that is much more valuable, or perhaps making more intensive use of a piece of property, again, so it boosts the value of that property. Now I should say, I think this is an excellent time to get started in property development. Events over the last few years, such as COVID and the move to online retail, have meant there's a lot of underused and unused property out there. For example, empty offices, shops, pubs, and so on. Many of them are literally begging out to be developed into a new use. And right now, there's some evidence that property prices are levelling out and, who knows, may even fall. So that could make it easier to get into development than has been the case for some years. Also, just recently the government's announced a stamp duty cut along with some other tax incentives, so these measures may help as well. So what are the good things about being a property developer? Well, the main one is that property development can be very, very profitable indeed. Even some of the smaller development projects can involve millions of pounds, and they can have high profit margins too, in the tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds. Another good reason for being in property development is that it's really rewarding and worthwhile work. You may be transforming empty, redundant old buildings and giving them a new lease of life. You may be providing people with much needed new homes. Now, while property developers sometimes get a bit of a bad press, they can also do a lot of good too. So what are some of the drawbacks of property development? Well, property development projects can involve a lot of time and a lot of hard work. It's not something to go into lightly. You need to be hardworking, well organised and determined. Development projects also need more money than most property investments, and they're more risky too. But don't worry at this stage if you don't have that money, as there are always ways to get finance for the right projects. But you need to be aware that big projects can involve big numbers. So next I'm going to look very briefly at how property development works. Well, first of all, you need to have the mindset of a property developer. You need the vision to see what something could be, often when other people can't. And you need determination to see a project through from the original idea to completion. You need to know the best sorts of development sites to consider. If anything, there are too many property development opportunities out there right now than too few. And here are just a few examples of the many opportunities open to you. You can do residential developments, or commercial, or mixed-use developments. You can develop land, both greenfield sites and brownfield sites. You can do renovation and refurbishment. You can improve existing buildings and perhaps add value to them by adding extensions and developing the land around them. You can also demolish existing buildings and redevelop the site with new buildings. You can do conversions. For example, commercial conversions are extremely popular. You can develop also in more unusual ways, for example with airspace developments where you actually build on top of existing buildings. Now, of course, with all of these projects, you need to be able to spot suitable sites, and you need to be proactive about doing it. You need to know how to analyse a potential development. You really need to drill down and look at the numbers. You need to find out what all the costs will be and estimate the likely value of the finished development. You need to be able to make offers and negotiate deals. Now, buying a development site isn't the same as buying a house. You need to know what a site is really worth and be able to cut a deal that will work for both you, the developer, and the seller. In many cases, development sites aren't offered for sale as such, but if you know how, it's easy to find out who owns sites you're interested in, so you can then put a proposition to them. You need to be able to arrange funding. Now, in most cases, you can't fund a development with a loan from a high street bank or building society. But the good news is that there's a massive finance industry out there which specialises in providing finance to property developers, such as our crowdfunding platform example. There are also lots of people with a lot of money to put into development projects as well, if you know where to look. You need to know something about planning. You need to know when you will need planning permission for a project and when you don't. You also need to have some idea whether you're likely to be able to get it and how to work with the planners to get the permission you might need. You need to be able to plan and specify the works and work with builders and other experts. But this is, I think, one of the most exciting things about property development. You don't actually need to do any of the work yourself or even know much about building, because there are lots of experts out there who can help you make your development a reality. Experts such as surveyors, architects, planners, project managers and builders. Whatever kind of help you need with a project, there will be somebody who can provide it. Of course, you do need to know how to find these experts and how to work with them effectively. You need to be able to generate a profit from the finished development. And what will you do with that finished development? This is obvious maybe, but with property development, you need to consider this not at the end of the project, but before you even start. Now, in many cases, you will look to sell a project to crystallise a quick and immediate profit, but you could generate a long-term income from your development by letting it out. Or it could be a combination of both. Now, I expect you're thinking, property development sounds a pretty complicated business. Maybe it's not for me. And in some ways, you'd be right. Property development is not always the easiest option. But then if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And in our Development Masterclass, we will teach you how to find the sites, fund the sites, and exit them, and much, much more about the world of property development. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button so that others just like you will get to see it, and also subscribe to our channel so you'll get notified of other videos that we post each week. Appearing on your screen right now will be more videos that will help you in your property business. Thanks for listening.